Hello everyone, welcome back to the workshop. In this next rendition of Blacksmith Question of the Day. So I'm going to attempt to answer some more questions. You all have been around a while, you know how this goes. For you that are just joining us, this is where I try to answer your questions, or a lot of the common questions that I get on a lot of different videos. And so it's a way of me interacting back here with the community. And because I just can't get to all the comments that are on every single video that we have, since we have nearly 1,300 videos and we get several thousand comments. So this is just a great way of summing a few of them up, catching them up. The ones that catch my eye are the ones that are repetitive. I get them done this way. So let's get into it. First question. This came from an RJ Tumble 10 hours ago. I'm thinking of setting up a coal forge like the one you're standing next to. Do you have a video on how to safely put it out at the end of the day? If not, it might be a good topic along with one of your previous fire safety video. RJ Tumble, thank you for the great question. I believe I have several videos that I have mentioned it in. I'm not sure if I have a video specifically dedicated to end of the day fire maintenance. I believe I do. You can just search the channel in the search bar. But to answer your question directly here, usually the way that I put my fire out at the end of the day is I stove it up and I just let it, if it's a blacksmith, like a regular, green coal fire, I just heave it up and I let it bake some coke for the next day. Coal, unless it has oxygen going to it, it is not going to take and burn for very long. So it's a fairly safe, fuel to use. Now, if you're using charcoal or something like that, yes, you need to take and pull out your fire and you need to cool it down. General safe practice that most people use is they just cool the fire down, with a bit of they just drag out the fire, then use a dipper can around the edges to take and cool that off so it doesn't go nowhere. But for me, I just stove it up and then I just let it cool off naturally over a period of time. I feel like that's better for the cast iron fire pot that's underneath. Okay, so the next question. Piney Hollow's Homestead. This question is from Piney Hollow's Homestead. Very informative. What about a hot cut hardy? Should it be hardened? I made mine out of a Chevy Tahoe CV shaft. Well, I think I know what a CV joint is. I believe that is what you're talking about. Depending on the steel, yes and no. I do not know what a Chevy Tahoe CV shaft is made from. If you want to take and harden a hot cut tool that is going into the hardy, you can. Really though, you're trying to look for rigidity in a tool steel. So anything that's being used on hot work, you're wanting toughness out of it, not necessarily hardness, okay? Hardness comes into play when you're trying to cut cold material or you're having two bearing surfaces that need to have wear resistance on cold material. A lot of friction, it's usually cold type material that you need a lot of heat treatment or specialized heat treatment for. But since you're taking a bar that should be super hot coming out of the forge and you're going to this piece that is cold, that tool will hold up to some abuse. All hot cuts at some point in time eventually lose their temper out of the leading edge because it's engaging with hot material. You won't have as much problem if you're using 3/8 rod or something like that. It'll cut pretty quick. But if you start cutting off 1 inch round or up, you're going to lose the temper anyhow. So at that point, it's really it's a cutting edge. The contact is very minuscule. Keep the tool cooled, put it back in the hardy, and keep cutting material. So in that case, you don't really need to harden it. If you've got a mystery steel, sometimes you are safer after all the forging and stuff to go ahead and do 3 normalization cycles. That means bring it up to its critical temperature or whatever it says in the book. Follow the book. If you can get a temperature or thermometer that'll read, bring it up to whatever its critical temperature stated that it should be. If you know what it is, or if you don't know what it is, just bring it up to where the magnet don't stick. Let it cool down naturally to where you can touch it. Then bring it back up to where the magnet won't stick, and so on and so forth. Do that 3 times and call the tool good at that. It's just a safer bet when you're working with mystery steel. Next question comes in from Drayson's Forge. Cool. I have a question. This was on the to harden or not harden video. Cool. I have a question. I picked up a crowbar cheap. I am sure it was a cheap crowbar. I'm not sure if it was a cheap crowbar or if it had been in a fire. In any case, the previous owner had straightened out the hook end. I am not concerned with putting it back into service as a prying tool. What would you suggest forging it into? A small hammer eye drift, or should I use a different steel things? So the biggest important thing, there's a whole host of stuff. Depending on its diameter, it can make a really great drift. If I'm thinking right on a crowbar, you're probably thinking roughly 5/8 to maybe 7/8 inch in diameter. For a big crowbar, 5/8 for a smaller diameter crowbar. And crowbars are really good, tough steel. So if you've got a big enough crowbar, you can make even small little hammers, up to about 8 ounces or so to a pound. Crowbar steel can be a good thing. Again, crowbar is a very tough steel. It can be good for that. Now, since you don't know what type of steel it was, I would not make anything super critical. So in that case, I would say drift is a great idea. Go ahead and go for some sort of drift because those don't need to be hardened anyhow. It's just tough, make them short, do a test tooling, see if it throws sparks, what type of sparks it throws, harden in water, harden oil, do some testing would be my suggestion before you try to make anything critical. If you want to make some really stout tongs, make it out of crowbar or something, I wouldn't suggest that. But I think you're onto the right path when it comes to making a drift. I would use crowbar steel for that. Without proper testing, playing around with some testing to get to know the steel better, I wouldn't suggest it for things like hammers or something that needs to be struck if you're trying to harden this tool without knowing what it is. So that's it for today. I tried to answer 3 questions in this one. Let me know if you like having 3 questions in the video and a slightly longer video for the blacksmith question of the day, or would you like me to just keep it to 1 question, short and sweet and out and to the point? Just let me know that down in the comment section down below. As always, just thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sharing it around with your friends. And if you'd like to support what we do here at Christ Center Ironworks, a great way of you doing that is just checking out our website over at blacksmithpdfs.com and consider purchasing a power hammer plan or get a free download, or even possibly get yourself an ebook around running your business as a blacksmith. That's it for today. As always, God bless you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.